Scandal at Miss Universe 2025. This is how Fatima Bosch's victory has become entangled. The crowning of Mexican Fatima Bosch as Miss Universe 2025, held in Bangkok, went in a matter of hours from being a historic triumph for Mexico to becoming the center of one of the biggest scandals the pageant has faced in recent years. Accusations of fraud, resignations of judges, reports of online harassment, allegations of influence peddling that reach her father, and now even arrest warrants against the president of Miss Universe, Mexican businessman Raúl Rocha Cantú, have called into question the credibility of the competition and ignited a global debate. 1. From victim of bullying to questioned queen, days before the final, Bosch was already trending worldwide due to a public bullying incident. The Thai director associated with the organization, now at Accusations, reprimanded her on camera for allegedly not generating enough promotional content for the host country. He even called her stupid and had her escorted out by security. Several contestants left the room in solidarity with the Mexican, and the video went viral. Far from remaining silent, Bosch responded, denounced the mistreatment, and withdrew from the event, a gesture that for many women made her a symbol of dignity and sisterhood even before winning the crown. 2. The triumph and the origin of the fraud accusations. On the night of the final, Fatima Bosch won, securing Mexico's fourth Miss Universe crown. But almost immediately, accusations of fraud began. The catalyst was former judge Omar Harfuch, who claimed the competition was rigged 24 hours before the final to guarantee Miss Mexico's victory. He maintains that the decision did not reflect the judge's actual evaluations and announced legal action against the organization. This was compounded by other internal movements. Resignations of judges and figures linked to the contest, including former Miss Universe Natalie Glebova, who made it public that she no longer wishes to participate again as a judge, alluding to changes in the way of scoring and lack of clarity in the voting process. Reports about changes in voting criteria as the competition progressed further fueled a perception of manipulation. International media have summarized the case as that of a fake Miss Universe, gathering testimonies and suspicions from participants and former jury members about the transparency of the result. 3. The role of Fatima Bosch's father and the connections with PEMEX. One of the most sensitive aspects of the scandal points to the Queen's family. Several news reports indicate that Fatima's father, Bernardo Bosch Hernandez, is an executive at Petróleos Mexicanos, PEMEX, and that the state-owned company allegedly has multi-million-dollar contracts with companies linked to Raúl Rocha Cantú, president and co-owner of the Miss Universe organization. This alleged connection has fueled a narrative of influence peddling, the idea that economic relations between the businessman who controls the competition and the work environment of the Queen's father would have favored the result. In response to the accusations, Bernardo Bosch himself came out to defend himself in interviews, stating that his role at PEMEX is not to award contracts and denying having intervened in any way in the bidding process. For her part, Fatima Bosch has publicly stated that she is proud of her family, whom she describes as honest and hardworking people, and has insisted that her success is due to her personal performance and not to external influences. 4. Raúl Rocha Cantú, from Casino Royale to fuel theft. The context became explosive when, as doubts about Miss Universe grew, it was revealed that the Attorney General's Office, FGR, of Mexico requested and obtained an arrest warrant against Raúl Rocha Cantú, president and co-owner of the pageant and honorary consul of Guatemala in Mexico. According to investigations reported by various media outlets, Mexican authorities identify him as the alleged leader of a network dedicated to drug and arms trafficking, fuel theft and trafficking, Huachical, using routes between Guatemala and Mexico, links to criminal groups such as the Jalisco New Generation Cartel and La Union Tepigo, in addition to possible complicity with FGR officials. Rocha has a history of controversy. He owned the Casino Royale in Monterrey, which was attacked by organized crime in 2011. Years later, he became a key partner in the purchase of the Miss Universe franchise. The businessman has denied the accusations, but press reports indicate that he sought a plea bargain with the justice system in exchange for information. 5. The other co-owner also faces charges of fraud. As if that weren't enough, the storm also reaches the other co-owner of the organization, Thai businesswoman Jacopong Ann Jakrajutete. A Thai court issued an arrest warrant for him in a case of alleged fraud against an investor, who claims he was tricked into contributing around 30 million baht to his company. Jakarta was already facing lawsuits and the financial collapse of his media conglomerate, which entered into debt restructuring proceedings for millions of baht. Although she stepped down from the operational management of Miss Universe in 2025, she remains a significant shareholder. The legal situation of both owners has led the organization to face an unprecedented crisis of credibility. 6. Threats, digital hate, and the defense of Fatima Bosch. Alongside the institutional scandal, Fatima Bosch reports that she has become a target of digital violence, hate messages, accusations of having bought the crown, and even death threats against her and her family. The Queen has responded with several messages on social media. She acknowledges that the attacks hurt her, but insists that they do not define her. It calls for raising awareness of digital violence against women, taking advantage of the framework of November 25th. She emphasizes that her worth does not depend on a crown and calls on women not to let anyone make them doubt themselves. 7. Can he lose the crown? The combination of fraud allegations, internal conflicts within the organization, and criminal proceedings against its owners has opened another front. Legal experts in the United States are analyzing whether it is possible to revoke Fatima Bosch's crown if serious manipulation of the result is proven. So far, the Miss Universe organization has not given a clear response to the fraud allegations. At the first press conference after the coronation, it avoided questions on the subject and demanded that reporters submit their questions in writing in advance. 8. The position of the Mexican government. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum initially celebrated and defended Bosch against criticism. However, after criminal charges against Raúl Rocha and his possible connection to PEMEX contracts became public, the president asked the Attorney General's office and other relevant authorities to clarify the case. The government insists that the investigations into Rocha's alleged crimes are separate issues from the Queen's triumph, but in fact, both narratives have merged in the public eye. 9. A competition in crisis of credibility. What began as another episode of spectacle and glamour has transformed into a case that touches on organized crime, corruption, gender violence, and transparency in the entertainment industry. Today, Fatima Bosch's reign advances under a double shadow. 1. The accusations that his victory was the product of a fix, fueled by resignations of judges and testimony from former jury members. 2. The legal crisis of the contest owners, with arrest warrants for drug trafficking, weapons, and fuel theft in Mexico, and a trial for financial fraud in Thailand. Meanwhile, Bosch herself is trying to use the platform to talk about resilience and digital violence, while facing fierce scrutiny that few Miss Universes have experienced with this intensity.